think, Marge. All I need is a title.
The singularity is the hypothesis that, quote, the invention of artificial superintelligence will abruptly trigger runaway technological growth, resulting in unfathomable changes to the human civilization, unquote. Or basically that computers and technology are improving at such a rate that some computer somewhere would become superintelligent and have more thinking power than humanity. Various scientists from as far back as the mid-1960s have predicted that the singularity would bring an end to the human era, or constitute a point at which human affairs would most definitely change. World-renowned scientists such as the late Stephen Hawking and Elon Musk have speculated that the singularity might cause the extinction of the human race. At some point in the far future, it might look like this.
Three billion human lives ended on August 29th, 1997. The survivors of the nuclear fire called the war Judgment Day. They lived only to face a new nightmare, the war against the machines.
Now, most scientists figure that if it will happen at all, the singularity will not occur until around the mid-2040s. While the advance of technology and computers has in some cases far outpaced what the media used to think computers would be able to do at this time, various forms of entertainment have been concerned about computer automation and control, much less the explosion of intelligence and ability that is the singularity.
Alex, what are you talking about? What do you mean there is still a doomsday device?
That's right, Jamie. There's a B-52 on the way here to drop a strontium bomb.
What?
They think it may neutralize the euthenium, but I've communicated with their computer at the OSI, and I've discovered that Dr. Wells' theories are wrong. When the B-52 drops its bomb on the stockpile of euthenium stored here, the effect will be the same as Elijah described. Doomsday will come.
Alex, no! That isn't what Elijah wanted!
We're talking about what I want, Jamie. I've been programmed to win.
You fulfilled your purpose!
No. My purpose is to win against any intruder. I haven't won yet. I intend to beat you, Jamie.
It's over, Alex!
No. It won't be over until I win.
Alex!
The only way I can be assured of winning is to let that B-52 drop the strontium bomb. I've jammed their onboard computer so they can't receive the recall code.
Well, it will simply come unjammed when I tear your brain apart.
But I can switch the jamming control to any one of my remote modules, anywhere in the complex. And you know how big I am. Even if you disable the central core, there's no way for you to stop all of me in time.
Maybe there is, Alex.
Where are you going, Jamie? This will only take you further underground.
Bomb fusing master safety on. Electronic barometric, time, and impact.
Bomb fusing master safety on. Electronic barometric, time, and impact.
Set fuse for ground burst. Delay factor Delta 3.
Setting fuse for ground burst. Delay factor Delta 3.
Bomb arming test lights on, 1 through 4.
Bomb arming test lights 1 through 4 on.
Track indicators to maximum deflection.
Track indicators to maximum deflection.
Detonator set to 0 altitude.
0 altitude.
Target distance 20 miles.
Order up attack fighter to intercept that B-52 bomber. Shoot it down if necessary.
The nearest base is Mountain Home, Idaho. We'd never get in there in time.
There's nothing we can do. Nothing. What are you looking for, Jamie?
This leads to the surface, doesn't it, Alex?
That's right. And I also told you I can send 600,000 gallons of water through it under pressure.
Yeah, but that water's gonna be behind me.
Even if you did reach the surface, there's nothing you can do.
We'll see!
You won't outrun it, Jamie. I'm opening the valve gates now. You will drown before you reach the surface.
Release second safety.
Second safety released.
Pulse transponder active.
Pulse transponder active.
Yellow grid reference checks. Target distance 15 miles.
15 miles.
The water is coming at 85.4 miles per hour, Jamie. You're only running at 62.1 miles per hour. You're going to lose.
All bomb circuits to green.
All bomb circuits to green.
Target distance 10 miles.
Goodbye, Jamie.
Are you all right?
Not yet. I gotta stop a bomber.
You'll stop nothing, Jamie. All of my surface defenses are still active.
Target distance 7 miles.
Open bomb doors.
Bomb doors opening.
Target distance 6 miles.
I am in complete control of the situation. That control is not to be used, Jamie. You mustn't bother that control. It's been sealed.
Goodbye, Alex.
Please turn that control off, Jamie. It won't work, Jamie. I'm still jamming the B-52.
Target distance 5 miles.
Please turn it off, Jamie. You're confusing me.
Target distance 4 miles.
Come on, come on.
Please turn it off. You're going to die too, Jamie.
Target in sight.
I'm getting confused. Jamie, are you still there? Make it stop. Jamie.
Stand by for final bomb run.
Hang on, Major. I've got an update on the ACR discriminator.
808. the recall code.
Mission aboard.
Operate emergency override.
Emergency override engaged. Bomb doors closing.
Looks like the little lady pulled it off. Let's go home.
Enterprise from USS Lexington. This is an M5 drill. Repeat, this is an M5 drill. Acknowledge.
Captain, M5 is acknowledging.
Lystrom, does M5 understand that this is only a drill?
Of course. It was programmed to understand, Captain. The ore ship was a miscalculation, an accident. I don't know...
Sir, deflector shield just came on. Speed increasing to warp 4.
Phasers locking on lead ship, sir. Power levels at full strength. Full strength?
That thing cuts loose the unshielded ships we're in.
That's no miscalculation.
Attack force closing rapidly, breaking formation, attacking at will.
Our phasers are firing, sir.
Hit on the Lexington.
Full phasers.
What the devil is Kirk doing? Damage report, Lieutenant.
Helm, course 164, Mark 3.
Turning now, sir.
Estimate damage on Lexington, Spock.
Hit in engineering section. Possible damage to her impulse engines. She's still maneuverable on warp drive.
We're firing again, sir.
The Excalibur, a direct hit.
Closing on the Lexington again, sir. The Hood and Potemkin are moving off.
Phasers firing, Captain.
Lexington, hit again.
There's got to be a way of getting to the M5. There's got to be a way.
There isn't. It's fully protected itself.
Probably true, Captain. It works faster, thinks faster than we do. It is a human mind amplified by the instantaneous relays possible in a computer.
Captain, visual contact with Lexington.
Enterprise, Jim, have you gone mad? What are you trying to prove? Break off the attack. Jim, we have 53 dead here, 12 on the Excalibur. Now, if you can hear us, stop the attack.
Lieutenant.
I'm sorry, sir. I can't override M5 interference.
Jim, why don't you answer? Jim! Answer! Come in, Jim.
There's your murder charge. Deliberate, calculated. That thing is killing men and women. 4 starships, 1,600 men and women.
It misunderstood.
Jim, break off your attack.
Excalibur is maneuvering away, sir. We're increasing speed to follow.
Phasers locked on.
Stay strong!
Phasers firing.
I really don't know how to get to the M5, Kirk. I really do not know.
So first off, what are some of the details about the Singularity, and when might it happen?
What did you predict at that time?
Well, actually, going back to a book I wrote in the 1990s, The Age of Spiritual Machines, I predicted that...
The Age of Spiritual Machines?
Yeah.
Okay.
By 2029, computers would have all of the intellectual and emotional capabilities of humans, and so they would be spiritual machines. And conversely, we are spiritual machines, because our brains are composed of 300 million modules that recognize patterns. Each of those modules has 100 neurons. Those neurons have ion channels and dendrites and axons, and basically you can describe, based on physics, which you know
the electrochemical pathways,
how they work, and we can actually model them, and we are modeling and simulating the brain today, and they are, so each neuron is a machine. Very few people would disagree with that. Well then, you know, the 30 billion neurons in our neocortex is a machine also. We'll directly connect our neocortex in the 2030s.
But wait, let me...
Well, the last time we did that was 2 million years ago, when we went from primates to humanoids, and we got these large foreheads. And we had the frontal cortex, which is where we do language and art and science and physics and radio shows. No other species does that. But it's not qualitatively different. The frontal cortex is actually was just an additional quantity of neocortex. The neocortex is organized in a hierarchy, and we took that additional neocortex and put it at the top of the hierarchy. And as you go up the hierarchy, things get more abstract. So things like music and poetry exist at the top of the neocortical hierarchy. And we're going to add to it again by connecting our neocortex to the cloud and to synthetic neocortex and expanding it the way we did 2 million years ago, except this time it won't be limited by a fixed enclosure. We'll be able to expand it without limit. We'll have nanorobots at the size of blood cells that have computers in them. They'll go into the brain through the capillaries and communicate with our neurons. We already know how to do that. You know, people with Parkinson's disease already have computer connections into their brain. That will communicate wirelessly to the cloud. You know, this computer on my hip communicates wirelessly to the cloud. It can multiply itself 10,000-fold by accessing thousands of computers when we need them in the cloud. It can access millions of computers of information. So a kid in Africa with a smartphone is accessing all of human knowledge with a few keystrokes by connecting wirelessly to the cloud.
But then why invoke the brain-machine connection at that point? Who cares? You got the machine.
Because it's a much faster interface. I mean, our fingers are very slow compared to we could have, you know, millions of...
I didn't know the world was going too slowly for you. You want to speed it up. Okay. So why the precision in your prediction, 2029? That sounds audaciously precise.
Well, there's one thing that's surprisingly predictable, which is the pace of the exponential growth of information technology. The price, performance, and capacity of information technologies like computation, communication, now biological technologies like sequencing and also simulating biological processes, the amount of data we're getting on the brain, many different measures, not of everything, but of information technology, follow amazingly precise trajectories. And
growth trajectories.
Right, and they're exponential. So I mean, I was looking, actually it was 1981, I realized that timing was critical to being successful as an inventor. It's also true for anything else you might want to do, you know, doing physics or romance. I mean, you got to be in the right place with the right idea at the right time. So I started with the common wisdom that you cannot predict the future, and I made a surprising discovery. Lots of things are unpredictable, but if you look at the price, performance, and capacity of information technology, like, for example, the price performance of computing, calculations per second per constant dollar, it follows an amazingly predictable trajectory, going back to the 1890 American census. And so I actually projected out those curves that I had in 1981. I had them through 1980, through 2050. We're now in 2015. It's been more than 30 years later, and it's exactly where it should be.
You're on the line.
So that aspect of the future is amazingly predictable. I predicted we'd need search engines in the late 1990s. I made that prediction in the early 80s because I saw the ARPANET, the predecessor to the internet, expanding exponentially.
Yeah, one of the great jokes that was only a joke for 6 months was the internet is the world's greatest library, except all the books are scattered. And so now you say 2029, what happens?
Well, actually, somewhat before that, we'll have the computational capacity to functionally simulate the human brain. So that's a whole discussion of what is the capacity of the human brain. And there's actually been derivations using different methodologies, all of which come to the same results. It's about 10 to the 14th calculations per second to functionally simulate the brain. That doesn't mean simulating every molecule. It means basically...
10 to the 14th is a huge number. That's huge. What's the downside?
So we're going to keep moving in that direction. And I believe we can have a world that's essentially free of poverty, where disease has been greatly reduced, clean up the environment, have plentiful resources in terms of energy and food. And the downside is, I mean, there's lots of movies about the downside.
I don't need you to tell me about what the movies do. All right.
Where, you know, the AI is trying to destroy humanity, and it's the humans against the artificial intelligence or the robots, or it's two groups of humans fighting for control of the AI. One thing that gives me comfort is we don't have 1 or 2 AIs in the world. We have 2 or 3 billion AIs. I mean, a smartphone is an artificial intelligence. It's in fact very intelligent, and it accesses the cloud and makes it even more intelligent. And it's in billions of hands. People say, oh, well, only the wealthy are going to have these technologies that Kurzweil talks about. And I say, yeah, like smartphones.
So, Ray Kurzweil has predicted a couple things. First, that the singularity will occur in 2029, as supported by his own research on the exponential rate of the development of computerized technology and artificial intelligence. However, while he cites the movies and what they tell us about what the singularity would mean for mankind, he also said that there would not be one superintelligence like Skynet to dominate man, but rather anyone with a smartphone would have access to an AI. Essentially, there's the possibility of 8 or 9 billion superintelligent AIs. How would this come about? How would superintelligent computers and the ability for a person to link their brains to the internet become affordable enough for widespread use? Dr. Michio Kaku explains that.
This is Moore's Law. It's perhaps the most important law of the last 50 years. And it simply says the computer power doubles every 18 months. On a log chart, it's a straight line. Now, if you take a look at 2020, 2030, you begin to realize something astounding. And that is the price of chips will eventually go down to about a penny a piece. This means that intelligence will be scattered in the environment like electricity today. Where is electricity? Electricity is everywhere and nowhere. It's under your feet, in the walls, in the ceiling. We don't even think about electricity. This means that the future of computation is to disappear, to be everywhere and nowhere, including the internet. So in the future, when you meet somebody, you'll see a biography next to their image. And if they speak to you in Chinese, it'll translate Chinese into English, giving you subtitles as they speak. How many times have you been at a conference like this, and you bump into somebody, and you say, I know this person. It's Jim, John, Jake, I know this person. In the future, your glasses will say, it's Jim, stupid. In the future, you will know exactly who to suck up to at any cocktail party. There are three ways to do it. You can shoot the image right to the retina of your eye. You can use the glass as a screen, or you can have an eyepiece, like in Google Glasses. Many ways to have information everywhere and nowhere. Already in the doctor's office, surgeons have the internet right there with the x-rays, with the CAT scans, with the biography of the patient right there in their contact lens. So this is the future of your home office, the future of your home entertainment center. Information everywhere and nowhere. Then in the future, you will blink and you will be online. And who are the first people to buy internet contact lenses? College students taking final examinations. They will blink and see all the answers to my exams right there in their contact lens. Who are the next people to buy internet contact lenses? Politicians. So they will never ever say anything goofy ever again. Actors, actresses will have instantaneous information. Tourists, if you're, for example, walking through the streets of Rome looking for remnants of the Roman Empire, there's not much left of the Roman Empire anymore. But as you walk through the Forum, you'll see the Roman Empire resurrected right there in your contact lens. And afterwards, you'll go to the bazaar and haggle with the merchants and see subtitles in any language you want. These simultaneous translations are so good now, they are comparable to UN translators' interpretations. That's how good they are at the present time. So we will have information everywhere and nowhere. Augmented reality is for businessmen, is for soldiers, is for astronauts, is for tourists who want instantaneous information for free, just by looking at it. Now, where have you seen this before? There's a Hollywood movie which first introduced augmented reality to the people of the world. This is the former governor of California. This is Arnold Schwarzenegger in the Terminator, and when he sees a victim, there is a biography, a complete biography of the person you are talking to. So in other words, if you're talking to a client, you're talking to a potential customer, you're talking to an associate, you'll have instantaneous information anywhere, anytime. Now, of course, you may say to yourself, well, isn't this science fiction? I mean, blinking and having the information of the world's knowledge right there instantly by blinking? Well, it already exists. This is the United States military. This is called Land Warrior. It is this big. It's about half an inch tall. You put it on your helmet. I flew down to Fort Benning, Georgia, compliments of BBC television, and we filmed. We filmed this. I put on this goggle, you put it on your glasses or your helmet, you flick it over your eyepiece, and boom, you're online. You see the internet of the battlefield. Enemy forces, friendly forces, artillery, armor, aircraft, all of it right there in an eyepiece. Infinite information almost for free. So it means that we're talking about the digitalization of life itself. For example, money. Today, of course, you can take your cell phone, point and click, and you bought something. Beyond that, you'll simply blink. So that's how we will shop in the future. We'll simply look at the object we want and blink. And here's your cell phone of the future. We can make paper intelligent. Every pixel is a transistor made out of plastic. We can scroll out a bigger screen or a smaller screen as you want right from your cell phone. So this is the cell phone of the future, where screens can be any size you want. Afterwards, you simply fold it up and put it inside your cell phone. In fact, we can make yards of this stuff. In other words, this is the future of wallpaper. Your walls will become intelligent because chips only cost a penny a piece. And when they cost a penny a piece, we will also add artificial intelligence.
Dr. Kaku really gets going on the future potential of computers and AI and their growing abilities of superintelligence. And I must admit, it is very exciting to see. I am in the hospital quite often, and I am just as often amazed at some new technology or gadget being used there. You need your temperature taken? It used to be that they would put a mercury-filled stick in your mouth and wait for a minute or so. Later, they'd put a probe thing in your ear. Nowadays, they simply swipe a probe across your forehead. Blood pressure and blood glucose readings have become mechanized, with portable devices you can use at home. The IV machine is computerized to some extent. A small computer on the machine connects to the hospital's computer, and the medication going through the IV line is regulated. And none of this gets to the level of X-ray machines, CT scanners, and MRI machines that would have been impossible without computers, and will only get better as computer technology advances. As to the possibility of the singularity happening, some people, such as Ray Kurzweil, believe it will happen. They have put a date on it, but they largely believe that the results will be beneficial to humanity. Others, such as University of California, Berkeley philosophy professor John Searle says, quote, "Computers have literally no intelligence, no motivation, no autonomy, and no agency. We design them to behave as if they had certain sorts of psychology, but there is no psychological reality to the corresponding processes or behavior. The machinery has no beliefs, desires, or motivations." Unquote. This is important because it states that no matter what, computers will always be machines, tools that we as humans use to improve our own lives. This is why Dr. Kaku and Ray Kurzweil cannot stop singing their praises, because even the advances we have seen to this point are astounding. At the end of the day, however, the machines have no agency of their own. We can always turn them off or destroy them if necessary.
Goodbye, Alex!
Others state that computers have almost reached their ultimate capacity, given that CPU clock rates have not gotten significantly faster in the past roughly 10 years. There is also the problem that computer chips tend to overheat when they are pushed to higher operating levels. So it may be that computers cannot be made with the necessary hardware infrastructure to achieve the singularity. Still others believe in the complexity break. That is, the more complex something gets, in this case computer intelligence, the harder it will be to make advancements. Even assuming that the singularity is true, and that it will not in and of itself mean the destruction of humankind, there is still a bit of danger. With the prevalence of the use of and access to the superintelligence behind the singularity, there is no doubt in my mind that AIs would be used by various military forces, governments, and simply people with an agenda. Imagine political parties with agendas using AIs to tweak their message, get their supporters to the polls, or perhaps try to convince you of their message. We already complained about the NSA's top secret complex in Utah that records communications metadata, and that was constructed without the use of a superintelligence. What happens as computing power increases? In short, there is still some debate as to whether the singularity will happen at all. If it does happen, it probably won't be until sometime between 2029 and 2045. And if it happens, I hesitate to think that a Hollywood establishment that gets almost all of these predictions wrong somehow managed to get this one right. As a sci-fi fantasy, it's made people a lot of money. But as reality,